In the very heart of Middle-earth, tucked between the cozy paths of the Shire and the village of Bree, there's hidden one of the most terrifying places, cloaked in an ancient and deeply chilling curse. The Barrow-downs, ancient tombs haunted by spirits that bind themselves to the bones of the dead. Today, on the Arda Chronicles, we'll uncover the forgotten curse of the Barrow-downs, the story of the shadow-bound spirits who linger in the tombs of fallen kings. These grassy mounds, best known for the terror they brought to Frodo Baggins and his friends, are not merely relics of the past. They are echoes of a darkness that refuses to die. Join us as we explore the legend of the Barrow-wights, beings of shadow and memory, whose icy touch reminds us that in Middle-earth, evil seldom dies, it only waits. This is the haunting of the Barrow-downs, Middle-earth's forgotten curse, where every shadow tells a story and every whisper carries a warning.
To really get why this place is so cursed, we have to go back, way back. In the First Age, before the sun and moon even existed, the ancestors of men traveled west across Middle-earth. These were the Edain, the forefathers of humanity, who would later become famous allies of the elves in the wars against the first Dark Lord, Morgoth. Before they crossed the mountains into the doomed land of Beleriand, many of these people settled for a time in the rolling hills of Eriador. Here, in the land that would one day be known as the Barrow-downs, they started a powerful tradition. They built huge mounds of earth and stone as tombs for their chieftains and heroes. These weren't just graves, they were sacred monuments. But Tolkien's own writings are a bit ambiguous about who built the very first mounds. While many were built by the Edain, it's possible the oldest barrows were made by even earlier peoples whose stories are now lost to time. For thousands of years, the mounds stood silent. After the island kingdom of Númenor fell in the Second Age, its survivors, the Dúnedain, returned to Middle-earth. Led by Elendil, they founded the northern kingdom of Arnor, which included these ancient hills. Recognizing the Barrows as the work of their distant relatives, the Dúnedain honored the Downs, once again using them as a royal burial ground. Kings and lords of Arnor were laid to rest there, adding new layers of honor to the sacred earth. The hills were a testament to the long, unbroken line of men, a place where the past wasn't dead, but revered. But all this reverence would just make what was coming next even more horrific. As the Third Age began, the great northern kingdom of Arnor started to crack. After its 10th king died, a civil war split the realm into 3 smaller rival kingdoms, Arthedain, Rudar, and Cardolan. The Barrow-downs fell inside the borders of Cardolan, and its Dúnedain lords continued the tradition of burying their dead in the ancient mounds. And you can bet the enemy noticed this weakness. Far to the north, a new, terrifying power was rising. From the icy fortress of Carn Dûm, the sorcerous kingdom of Angmar was born. Its ruler was a being of pure, unadulterated terror, the Lord of the Nazgûl, Sauron's chief servant, the Witch King of Angmar. His one and only goal was to completely wipe out the fractured kingdoms of the Dúnedain. For centuries, a brutal war raged across Eriador. In the year 1409,
a massive army from Angmar swept down and crushed the Dunedain of Cardolan. The last prince of Cardolan was killed, and his people were scattered. Though Angmar's forces were eventually pushed back, the kingdom was fatally wounded. The Witch King, a master of dark magic and necromancy, wasn't satisfied with just a military victory. He wanted to make sure the line of the Dunedain kings could never rise again in these lands. So he turned his evil eye upon their most sacred place, the Barrow-downs. The final blow to Cardolan didn't come from a sword, but from a horrifying plague. In 1636, the Great Plague swept north out of Gondor, wiping out what was left of the population in Eriador. The last of the Dunedain who had been holding out in Cardolan died, and the Barrow-downs, once guarded and honored, were left totally deserted. This was the moment the Witch King had been waiting for. From his dark fortress in Angmar and the corrupted lands of Rudar, he unleashed evil spirits to infest the empty downs. So what were these spirits? Tolkien never tells us exactly. Some think they might have been lesser Maiar, angelic beings corrupted into Sauron's service, while others believe they were the restless ghosts of evil men or fallen elves. Whatever they were beings of pure malice, and they answered to the Witch King. They slipped into the cold, silent tombs and possessed the ancient bones of the dead kings and heroes buried inside. This unholy union of evil spirit and mortal remains created something new and terrifying: the Barrow-wights. A Barrow-wight is a shadowy figure, mostly defined by the cold, pale light that glows in its eyes. Think of them as beings made of darkness and frost, whose presence alone drains the warmth and life from the air. Their icy touch could put you into a death-like sleep, and their deep, hypnotic voices could crush your will to resist. They became the undead guardians of the tombs, twisting a sacred duty into a horrifying mockery. The mounds were no longer places of rest. They were prisons. The treasure buried with the ancient kings was now just bait for a deadly trap, and the dead themselves became puppets for the Witch King's evil. The curse had taken hold. The land was no longer hallowed. It was haunted. For over 1,000 years, the Wights slept, their evil undisturbed. But in the autumn of 3018, as a new war was brewing, the Witch King, now hunting for the One Ring, passed through the region he had cursed so long ago. He didn't have to do much. His very presence was enough to stir the ancient malice within the mounds and set the Wights on high alert. Just days later, 4 hobbits, lost in a thick, disorienting fog, stumbled right into this ancient trap. Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin, having just escaped the old forest, found themselves among the silent, grassy hills. Overcome with a strange weariness, they fell asleep near a standing stone, only to be separated by the clinging mist. That's when the curse awoke. A cold, deep voice called out to Frodo, and a tall, shadowy figure loomed over him before he too fell into a chilling sleep. He awoke to a scene of absolute horror. He was inside the cold, dark heart of a barrow. His friends lay beside him, pale and dressed in white burial shrouds adorned with gold chains. A single sword was laid across all their necks, as if they were sacrifices for a dark ritual. Above them, a disembodied arm crawled slowly toward the sword, and a terrible chant echoed in the darkness, a song promising them an eternity of cold sleep until the Dark Lord himself returned. But in that moment of absolute despair, Frodo did something incredible. A spark of tough hobbit courage ignited inside him. He fought off the white spell, grabbed a small sword from the treasure pile, and sliced off the creature's crawling hand. Then, remembering a song taught to him by his strange friend, Tom Bombadil, he sang out into the darkness. And an answer came. Tom Bombadil, the ancient master of the old forest, burst in with a rush of song and light. With a cheerful, powerful command, he ordered the white to vanish, shattering the barrow's stone roof and letting the sunlight pour in. The spell was broken, the white's shriek faded to nothing, and the hobbits were free. From the white's treasure, Tom chose 4 long daggers for them, blades forged centuries ago by the men of Westernesse, made specifically for the war against Angmar. One of those very blades would one day play a vital part in the downfall of the Witch King himself. So, what does the story of the Barrow-downs really tell us? It's a classic Tolkien theme, that in Middle-earth, the past is never truly dead. Evil, once it takes root, can lie dormant for centuries, just waiting for the right moment to surface again. The corruption of the Downs, from a place of honor to a place of horror, shows how Sauron and his servants didn't just want to conquer the world. They wanted to twist and defile everything good and sacred in it. The Barrow-wights are the perfect symbol of this corruption. They aren't just ghosts, they're a violation of the natural order, a twisting of reverence into dread, and of rest into eternal, hateful servitude. The land itself became a prisoner of its own violent history. Even after the defeat of the Witch King and his master Sauron, we're never told if the curse was lifted. It's possible that with their master's final destruction, the evil spirits were finally released, allowing the ancient kings to truly rest at last. The Downs stand as a forgotten monument to a long and bitter war, a silent warning that even in the most peaceful-looking lands, a dark history can be sleeping just beneath the surface. Though the epic events of the War of the Ring would soon overshadow this small, cursed patch of land, the lesson of the Barrow-downs sticks with you. It's a reminder that peace is often built on the bones of forgotten wars, and the shadows of the past can stretch for ages. The mists might still cling to those silent green mounds, and beneath the earth, the memory of honor, war, and a terrible curse lingers on, a forgotten chapter in the long, sorrowful history of Middle-earth. The story of the Barrow-downs is one of the most haunting pieces of lore in all of Middle-earth. What part of it do you find the most chilling? Is it the Witch King's initial, patient curse? Or the terrifying scene Frodo woke up to centuries later? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy exploring the forgotten corners of Tolkien's world, make sure you subscribe for more stories from the history of Middle-earth.